Thank you so much for joining. So let's talk about how I decided whether to stay or walk away from my 10-year marriage. All right. So my name is Linda and I'm a relationship mentor. This is like the first time I'm going live, but I'm super, super excited. So the other day I was thinking about, I was actually putting together a program and I'll put the titles in the description box, and I titled it Should I Stay or Walk Away from My Marriage? And I remember 3 or 4 years ago emailing my mentor asking her to help me because I felt ready to make the next bold decision in my life. I felt like I needed a fresh start, and I just felt like my marriage was not going the way it had wanted. And as I was reading that email, I was amazed because at the end, I was like, you know what, please help me actually decide whether I should stay or leave, because I was not sure whether I was making the right decision by wanting to leave. Long story short, we eventually got separated for 6 months, and we came back together in the most amazing way. So that's what really inspired me to create this program, because I know so many women are stuck in unhappy marriages, and probably they're leaving and they're feeling like, okay, nothing is gonna work. Maybe they keep having the same conversations over and over again, or you're home alone on Friday nights while your man is out. Maybe you can't even remember the last time you went on a romantic date. And at some point, all this kind of treatment, this bare minimum kind of treatment, builds a lot of resentment in the relationship. And what tends to happen is people walk away. And what I realized, there are some steps that any woman should take if she wants to really be sure, because it is a deep, very emotional decision to decide whether you're gonna live to get divorced. On my part, when I was getting separated, I actually thought that I was gonna get a divorce. And had I not gone through the steps that I'm about to share with you, I probably would have thrown away my 10-year marriage because I thought that that was it. So the first thing, if you feel like you're ready for a bold step, if you feel like you're tired of you're just feeling angry and tired and frustrated in this marriage, you feel like there's nothing going on for you anymore, the first thing is to take a mental break. For me, my mental break came when I got separated. But for you, if you are still with this man, your mental break could be something like you just stop trying to fix anything. All those arguments you like starting, all those arguments you like fueling, if you want, in the process of always over analyzing, always trying to make things work, take a mental break from your relationship. And what will happen is you will realize how much energy you've been spending on this man, on this relationship, at the expense of yourself. So that's the first thing. Take a mental break. Even if you stay in the same house, it could be something like when he comes, just say a simple hi. Don't try to start arguments. Don't try to do anything, because, babe, trust you me, you need a mental break from all the mess that's going on. Okay, now which leads me to the second step. So you've decided to take a mental break. What are you going to do with yourself? Focus all that energy and attention back to you. As women, especially married women, we really lose ourselves in the relationship such that you don't even know who you are as a person. It was until I decided to do my inner work during that period of separation, that's when I figured, oh my goodness, I had changed. I had all these insecurities. I had all these fears. I had some fears like I didn't see a lot of marriages, healthy marriages, like that were truly, truly happy. And I would always see, like, after they get married for like 10, 15, 20 years, people were always breaking up. So subconsciously, I always used to fear that my marriage would always break up. That's why it was so easy for me to always, anytime there was an issue, I'd want to pack up my things and go. So without doing your inner work, you'll not realize that you probably have your own negative thinking, your own way of thinking that always sabotages you. So Your inner work is really important. First of all, it grounds you. You get to know who you are right now as a woman. You are not the same woman who got married 10 years ago. I realized I was not the same woman who had gotten married 10 years ago. And that is why it's really important to just take a break from the relationship and focus on you. I learned that a relationship is actually a combination of two whole two people on their paths, two people on their spiritual journey, two people discovering themselves individually first, then they feed into the relationship. But what tends to happen is women, the moment they get into a relationship, they're there defining themselves by the role that they've taken up. So you've taken up the role of a wife, so you stop becoming Linda. You become the mom, the wife, the sister, the friend, the businesswoman, all these titles. And this is where it becomes really important to connect with you. Who are you right now? What do you value right now? Whatever you valued when you were getting married, is it the same right now? You'll probably find maybe you never valued something like wealth. But now you are wiser, you're more mature, you're probably starting to think things like, okay, what kind of legacy are we going to leave our children with? Or maybe you may want to grow your family and you feel like, oh my goodness, I just cannot continue in this same stressful job. Therefore, I want the liberty to step down. So at this point, the kind of man that would work for me is a provider man. Maybe that was completely different from when you got married, where it was okay to be 50-50. So it's really important to get in touch with what your values are for you right now. And then over and above, you identifying what are the values what do you value? Do you value intimacy? Do you value connection? Do you value trust? Do you value wealth? Do you value growth? So all those things that you value, yes, it's amazing to say these are the things you want in your partner. However, there's the other piece, which is such a powerful piece, where you start to align yourself to these values. So you say you want your man to be a provider. A provider man is technically a very masculine man. Therefore, the reciprocal of a masculine man is a feminine woman. Okay, so what does that mean? You start showing up in your more feminine ways. You start to unlearn some of these hard things that have turned you into a controlling, negative, complaining kind of a woman. So there is also work you need to do on yourself as you are deciding whether you go or leave. And even when I was doing this work, I realized, oh my goodness, okay, I too had a role to play in this dynamic. I also had my own negative traits that I was bringing into this relationship. And that is what gave me the compassion and grace to realize that, okay, wait a minute. My husband has actually been quite a great man, because if I look at the list of what I desire, I look at him, he has those qualities. And then I look at myself, I realized I had my own shortcomings in terms of becoming that version that's a match to what I want. So what does that look like? It looks like practically, if you have lost yourself, if you are the kind of woman who is always complaining, who is always angry, who is always controlling, many times we want to blame our men, but at the root of it all, it is about you and your outlook towards your life. A man cannot come to complete you. He's there to complete. You are there to complement each other and to create something that's harmonious. So that is why this whole inner work piece is really, really important, so that you decide who are you right now, who are you becoming, and what are even some of your non-negotiables. Okay, so once, and all this work you are doing it when you've taken a mental break from your relationship. So my separation was a 6-month one. I was also going through my own things. I was grieving my mom. I was looking after my mom. So I felt I needed this space. I've worked with some clients where for 6 weeks, that's all they needed while we were going through the program for Fix Your Marriage with Femininity. All they needed was 6 weeks to decide that, oh my goodness, there are some things I can work on and to get their relationship back. But depending on the damage, I would actually give a timeline of 90 days for you to really see and also to reprogram yourself and to learn to prioritize yourself and to revisit some of those new skills that you are building. If you're used to complaining every day, that means, okay, there are some issues that you need to work on. Why are you so angry? Why are you so negative? Why are you so frustrated? Do you really truly like your life? You start to look at yourself and then you start to make changes. So what does that look like? Do you probably need to switch jobs? Yeah, if your job is frustrating you such that every evening you're coming home, you're so angry, you're so frustrated, do you need to switch jobs? Or if you do not like how your body is right now and you wake up and you dress up and you're like, oh my God, I look like a block, yeah, compared to how you used to look like when you were married, all our bodies go through a change. But if we are not looking after ourselves, and yes, maybe your man stops taking you out, you cannot really blame that man. It's also because when you look back at yourself, you can ask yourself, okay, so you don't have to be a size 10, but have you been loving the body the way it is right now? Have you been nourishing yourself? Have you been looking after yourself? Have you been taking care of yourself? So this is where the inner work piece becomes really important. And then the third step is to communicate. When the timing is right, to communicate. I hear a lot of women saying, oh, all you have to do is to work on yourself. Yes, you can work yourself and you start to see shifts with your relationship, but it's even more important to communicate in the right way, to express what you feel about the relationship. Only then can you be able to know whether your man is up to the role, whether he is even still interested in this relationship. And that's what I had to do. Once I was done with my inner work and I felt ready, we were now ready to have the relationship talk in terms of where we see the future of our relationship going. I was able to have a very open and honest conversation and be vulnerable enough to express my feelings to my man. And his answer was what just confirmed that he really was the man for me. Because once you do your work and you express yourself, it will be so easy to know whether this man really can still wants to be a part of your life and still wants to grow as you grow, because at the end of the day we are all on our individual journeys. All right, so that's the 3-step process I used to decide whether I should stay or leave. First, I took a mental break. 2, I did my inner work. 3rd, I was able to communicate openly and vulnerably in terms of what I felt my needs and desires were, and I allowed for my man to step up and be the man that he needed to be. Of course, his response was like, of course, babe, I'm not going to do anything to compromise this relationship. So let's make it work. And it was really not a struggle. And that's the other thing. If you find yourself like you're doing all these steps and you're still struggling with your relationship, at some point you will need to draw the line. You will need to draw the line. But the only way you can be able to do that is if you're clear about who you are, what you desire, and why. So those are open for my 5-week intensive. Should I stay? Should I leave? Check out the details below and let me know what are your thoughts. What's happening in your relationship, especially if it's a complicated one. Let me know down below. And I plan to do more YouTube lives. So yes, I'm excited for this. Bye for now.